It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails at randykabc@gmail.com. Give me a follow on social media at Randy Wang Radio and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. When we were in the middle of the aftermath of the fires in the Pacific Palisades in Altadena, Karen Bass was practically in hiding.
Oh, you're so optimistic.
Karen Bass would do press conferences and wouldn't want to take any questions.
It's not a namsy-pamsy thing.
And Karen Bass really didn't want to do interviews around the time that she fired the fire chief and blamed her for all of Karen Bass's problems.
Well, absolutely.
But nowadays, Karen Bass is doing interviews constantly. She's doing interviews every single day, doing press conferences every single day, because she thinks that her position on what's going on with the ICE raids is good for her and good for her political future.
No!
Karen Bass sat down for a 25-minute interview with Telemundo, and it was picked up by NBC, who put it on their YouTube page. So I listened to the whole thing. And while she would like it if we started with the stuff on MacArthur Park and sanctuary cities and everything else, we're not going to do that. We're going to start at the middle of the interview where this question was asked.
You're running for re-election next year. Do you think you're going to win?
You know what? I mean, it's almost a year away. So obviously I plan to win. Obviously I'm going to work very hard.
She plans to win. She's running for re-election and she plans to win. And she did not expect the next question from what she thought was going to be a very friendly interview for her.
There's been so many with the fires. You know, you were here, but then when the fires started, you were in Africa. There was a lot of controversy.
No, you can't ask that. That's the whole reason she went to MacArthur Park to begin with, so she didn't have to go to the Gavin Newsom fire presser and have to answer for why she was in Ghana and all the other nonsense.
About why you were away. How can you respond to that? And
Well,
also,
let me just say why I was away. President Biden, a few days before I left to go to Africa, it was major news that I was going to Africa because the White House issued a press release saying that I was included and invited on a delegation to represent our country.
Yeah, but at that point, don't you say, sorry, I'm the mayor of Los Angeles. I'm not a member of Congress. I have responsibilities here. I've declared states of emergencies for several things, including homelessness, and I haven't come close to even making a dent in solving that. So I really shouldn't be gallivanting in Ghana. But no, she didn't do that because she missed her old life. Karen Bass was a member of Congress for a decade and didn't really have to do a damn thing except attend ribbon cuttings. She was in a safe district. It was easy elections every year. She could write legislation. It didn't matter if it passed or not. She led a cozy, comfortable life and never had to be held accountable for anything, because when you're one of 435 members of Congress, especially in a state like California, where you have, 55, 56 members of Congress, depending on the population, you are relatively anonymous. And people don't really pay attention to what you're doing. I can very distinctly remember the first time I even heard of Karen Bass, which was around the time that she was on the short list to be Biden's VP. And we didn't really know the name. I mean, she's been around, but, I've never crossed my mind, never popped up in any local news stories. And I mostly pay attention to local news stories. So I just did a Google on the YouTube, and the only thing I could find of Karen Bass that was even halfway relevant or recent was her at some opening of some Scientology center. It was strange.
At the inauguration of the Ghanaian president.
right, but then the fire started on the 6th, which was a Tuesday. We knew the alerts were happening the week before that, but then you left. So there was a lot of controversy and criticism towards you. why were you gone?
Well, let me
This is a much tougher interview than she thought she was going to get with Telemundo. Why were you gone? Everybody knew that the wind was going to be insane.
Well, let me just tell you that
Wasn't she going to do an investigation into why she went to Ghana?
well, let me just tell you that the alerts that were issued through emails, the city nor the county,
and the news and social media,
the city and the county.
Yeah, everybody knew that the wind was going to be devastating. Maybe they didn't know it was going to be the worst wind event we've ever had, but they knew it was going to be bad. But you didn't care because you wanted your old glamorous life back. Being a member of Congress, going on all these international delegations. She went to Africa several times. It's very glamorous. You know, it's passion for her. Being the mayor of LA, having to answer for all the hell that is this city every single day, not the most fun job. I guarantee you she wakes up every single day and regrets that she ran for mayor of Los Angeles. Even if she's going to run again, and she is, because she's stuck in this now, and this is her political future, I guarantee it. Maybe let's put it to the test. You know, I was kind of trying to figure out what the question was going to be for today's show, and I think we've just cracked on it right here. Do you think Karen Bass regrets running for mayor of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. She is in the middle of some kind of fight every single day. Even before the ICE raids, it was the fire stuff. Before the fire stuff, it was the homelessness. It's a stressful job, and she's not particularly good at it. I can go as far to say, at this point, I think she might be worse than Eric Garcetti.
I received things on both ends.
And I know that's a really, really, really incredible thing to say. But I think Karen Bass regrets running for mayor of Los Angeles. Maybe she wishes Rick Caruso won. Then she could do whatever kind of philanthropic thing she wants to do. But I think she wishes she stayed in that safe seat in Congress representing parts of Culver City.
The city nor the county,
and the news and social media,
the city and the county, nobody was prepared for a weather event that had never happened in our lifetime, which is hurricane strength winds. So was an alert mentioned around Santa Ana winds that happen frequently? Yes.
By the way, the fact that she's still downplaying that tells you that she doesn't read those emails. The mayor of Los Angeles, where we have devastating fires year round, and we have these wind events, these things are definitely at some point just going to happen. She didn't care because she wanted to go to Ghana and party, and she really thought 6 months later we all forgot about it. Even the Telemundo guy, who definitely didn't really plan to make this part of the interview, couldn't help himself because he hasn't forgotten how embarrassing it was that when these wildfires broke out, she was nowhere to be seen.
So was an alert mentioned around Santa Ana winds that happen frequently? Yes. But it was not elevated to the point of a critical situation. Otherwise, the county and the city would have gone into emergency mode. So when
they were checked out too.
Learned about the fires, I was actually 3 hours from boarding a plane to come home. I think
you were at a cocktail party. There were pictures.
I think what a lot of people didn't realize is, number one, the time difference between the United States and Africa, and two, how long it takes to travel. So I got back as soon as I could.
She really hopes that people will forget that, especially by the time of the June primary. Although, you know, we're nearly less than a year away from that primary. Nobody significant has announced that they're running against her. If Rick Caruso is going to do it, what the hell is he waiting for? But nobody else has even emerged, not even someone to challenge her for the left. I'm sure there's rumors about Kenneth Mejia, but so far, she's practically running unopposed. There's a few people that just kind of run all the time that don't really have any notoriety. Maybe I'll look at some of their YouTube videos someday on a day where I have nothing else to listen to. But right now, she's pretty much running unopposed. But even then, I think she regrets becoming the mayor of Los Angeles and leaving her cushy job in Congress. Do you think Karen Bass regrets becoming the mayor of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. And by the way, Barbara Lee, you're going to regret what you did too, because you wanted to be the mayor of Oakland. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Richard in L.A. Richard, hello.
Hey, how you doing, Randy? Great show. I think, as Karen Bass, from L.A. and the first woman mayor, you got to have your hand out, but she's definitely ineffective. I mean, the fires, even going against the government as far as, the ICE raids and things like that. And she's from this city, knowing how that affects the minority community of opportunity that she doesn't recognize. He's going along with the flag instead of being a leader. Maybe it's the public training that she had, but as far as coming out the box, you have even Caruso thinking you have a whole city, and she doesn't think that a fire is going to happen. Just throwing the cards on people's lives. The mayors, like Bradley, they don't do that. You get down to what possibly could happen. I went to a private school, Murphy. You think of what possibly is going to make people unhappy. She's thinking the other way. Thank you. Great show, Ian.
Hey, thank you so much for the call, Richard. Appreciate it. Look, she didn't realize how unattractive and how unfun it is to be the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, because everyone's got problems and you're the source of all of them. You have to answer to all of them. The buck is supposed to stop with you. It's one thing to be a member of Congress and be like, oh, the homeless is such a big problem in my district. And be like, oh, I'll write some legislation that might change something, but nobody holds you accountable for it. But when you run on the platform of you're going to solve homelessness and then you don't, and then you send the city into possible bankruptcy with your programs that are incredibly ineffective, well, we went from a lot of people not knowing who she was to a lot of people not liking her. Now, there's still a lot of tribalism at play, and the fact that Karen Bass inserts herself into these national politics and picks a fight with the administration tells you that she is going to lean into that in order to win re-election, because people kind of retreat to their tribes, and that's all that matters. But do you think Karen Bass regrets becoming mayor of Los Angeles with all the stress that's happened over the last 4 years? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Nick in Irvine. Nick, hello.
Hey, how's it going? So I think she doesn't regret it, obviously, because of all the kickbacks she gets. But I also heard something interesting about how she was in cahoots with another senator or someone that Bill Clinton pardoned, and they had some ties to some Cuba group that was part of some bombing in 1983. So overall, just crazy connections with her, and I'm not surprised she's in the LA City Council or mayor.
It is interesting that the Cuba stuff, nobody seems to even care about anymore out here, that she was a straight up Castro sympathizer.
Yeah, it's just nuts. I mean, this is where we're at, so I can see why she's doesn't care where she's at and has no qualms.
Thanks so much for the call, Nick. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Armando in L.A. Armando, hello.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Doing great.
Is it hot out there?
Well, I'm in New Mexico
Arizona,
right now,
right?
and it's gorgeous. I'm in New Mexico, and it's in the high 80s, but it's monsoon season, so it's been pretty lovely.
Okay, yeah, LA is pretty much now to about that temperature right now. It's kind of breezy and cool, like we're near the coast, so yeah, it's kind of cool. So, your question. All right. Karen Bass, come on. She gets her votes from the unions that support, the sheriff's department, the police department, all the sanitation department, all the city workers, all that union. That's where she gets her support from. It's that simple. They get their raises, their annual raises, they get their benefits, they get their insurance. They're going to support her. On the other hand, Caruso, man, I don't know how he lost that race. It's just strange to me. But if he threw his hat in there, I hope he doesn't put $100 million into that campaign, just puts his name on the ballot there and just says, let's change Los Angeles. And that's
Armando,
all
I just got
can
a
say.
call from my sales department. They really hope he does put $100 million in this campaign.
Well, that's a great, I mean, I don't think he would because I think he should have already been mayor. How
Well,
he's
it's
not,
interesting.
I'm not
I
really-
think he learned if he runs again. We don't know if he is. He might try to run for governor. Who knows? I think if he's going to
No,
run, he
you
needs
know
to
what?
announce
Even
soon.
better.
But you know what? I think he's learned earned media gets you a lot further than paid media. And he's going on a lot of long form interviews, doing a lot of podcasts. You hear him on this station on Motec all the time. I think that's what you got to do. You got to really get your face out there. And there's a lot it's one thing to, run against Karen Bass when both of you were unknown quantities. Now we know what Karen Bass has been like for the last 4 years. And I don't really know anyone that could say we're noticeably better off than we were when Garcetti was here and he was a piece of trash.
You're right. I can't go, say anything against that. You're right. The only thing I could say is we need to go forward, and we're not getting the best leadership that's in front of us.
Oh, that's true for a massive standpoint for most of the members of city council, for the even choice of options that we get for mayor. It's, that's Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's hard to live in Los Angeles when we pay so much. And even in California, we're just not getting, we're not getting what we pay for.
Definitely in the city of Los Angeles. There are some cities in LA County that are run very well. There are obviously, places like Orange County that is run very well. Some of the other smaller counties where it's a little cheaper to live, but it's still expensive. But you do get a lot for what you pay for it. Does it even out? Totally does not. But in Los Angeles, it really does seem like a raw deal.
Let me ask you something, Randy. Why does John live in Palm Springs when he complains about Los Angeles?
Well, I'll tell you why. He was splitting his time between Los Angeles and Palm Springs, and then COVID hit, and he got told by management to just stay working remotely because we don't know how long this is going to last. And he, at that point, had bought a condo in West LA and was going to move in. Because of COVID, he couldn't move in. So he decided, okay, I'll just sell the place. And he's been working remotely ever since, but he's still, if you're a member, if you live in Southern California, what happens in Los Angeles affects all the outlying counties. It truly does. And, you still spend time in Los Angeles. He still comes into the radio station, so he still works in Los Angeles somewhat. It all matters. It's all incredibly important. And, you can have an opinion on this city, whether you are a tax-paying resident of it or not, because it affects everybody in the state of California. 1 out of 4 people live in Los Angeles County in the state of California.
Yeah, I'm one of those people, but yeah, I get it. Thank you, Randy. You're doing a great job. I'm going to listen tomorrow for the foodie stuff.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for the call, Armando. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass has announced that she's running for re-election, and she's pretty sure she's going to win.
You're running for re-election next year. Do you think you're going to win?
You know what? I mean, it's almost a year away. So obviously I plan to win. Obviously I'm going to work very hard.
And obviously she has to run, but I don't know about you. I think she regrets dropping her congressional seat and running for mayor. I think the last 4 years have been a massive headache for her, and she regrets doing that. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think Karen Bass regrets becoming mayor of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll go to more of your calls next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass is running for re-election.
You're running for re-election next year. Do you think you're going to win?
You know what? I mean, it's almost a year away. So obviously I plan to win. Obviously I'm going to work very hard.
She has to run, but I think she regrets being mayor. I think she regrets dropping her seat for Congress and doing this job. Do you think Karen Bass regrets being mayor of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Jonathan in LA. Jonathan, hello. Jonathan? Jonathan going once. Jonathan going twice. Jonathan, please call us back after the break. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to your calls next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. Your emails at randykabc@gmail.com. Give me a follow on social media, Instagram and Twitter at Randy Wang Radio, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. Karen Bass told Telemundo she's running for re-election.
You're running for re-election next year. Do you think you're going to win?
You know what? I mean, it's almost a year away. So obviously I plan to win. Obviously I'm going to work very hard.
Obviously, she's running for re-election, but I think deep down, Karen Bass regrets dropping her fancy seat from Congress where she could go to Africa all she wanted and no one would bat an eye. And she regrets becoming mayor of Los Angeles.
No!
What do you think? Do you think Karen Bass regrets becoming mayor of L.A.? 800-222-KABC. Let's try Jonathan again here. Jonathan in L.A., hello.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
So I think you're wrong on this, Randy. I think she's exactly where she wants to be. Like one of your other caller mentioned, she was a Cuban communist activist in her early days in the 80s. These people like her, AOC, Zoran Mandami, they are deeply committed ideological activists. So how else can you explain her letting the Palisades and the Altogen fires get so bad? How can you explain them demonizing ICE? How can you explain most of their progressive policies if they're not deeply ideologically committed? So as an activist, where else would you want to be besides being mayor or governor when you're trying to intentionally sabotage the city or the state?
Well, you do make a really fair point there. This is the place where you can cause the most destruction. You can't really do much in Congress.
Correct. And then I would say as conservatives, or just how about just normal American people that don't hate the country? Hey, these policies are crazy. Defund the police. There's a new CEQA rule coming out where they're going to promote development in the urban cities, but that's not going to help the Palisades people now to people rebuild their homes, and that's on purpose. They've told us what they want, which is high density, high rise apartment living for everybody. Okay. And crowd everybody into these, smart green cities. So, I mean, that's straight out of the, green utopia socialist playbook. So, I just think we underestimate who these people are, and especially if you just pay attention to their policy stances. It's kind of obvious. So, it's just, I think it's hard for most people to comprehend that these people would be that crazy to intentionally sabotage, LA or the state of California or America in general. So.
Yeah, but that is an ideology, and we have elected a lot of these people that are even more extreme than her on the city council. Thanks so much for the call, Jonathan. Appreciate it. You can definitely look at how difficult we're making it to rebuild in Altadena and the Palisades, and if people decide that they don't want to deal with this headache for 5 or 6 years and they give up, who exactly are they going to sell that land to? The only people buying it are the big private equity firms like BlackRock. And what are they going to do? They're going to build multifamily housing on there. They're going to build high rises on there. So that may very well be true. Is it by design or is it incompetency? At some point we'll find out. Let's go to Wayne in Montclair. Wayne, hello.
Hello. I believe. Hi. I believe the question should be worded differently, but that said, I think we regret she's running for mayor. We regretted that she did already. That's the problem. She is grossly incompetent. She's proven that. I will say this. I rate all my politicians the same way. I don't care who they are. And I do it the same as I do in business. If they're not doing anything I want more of, I don't want them doing it. They're in the wrong position. They shouldn't be in that position, whether it's a political position or a job. They're both jobs in the end.
And I think you can look at her job performance over these last 3.5 years, and I wouldn't want to re-up that contract.
No, I wouldn't either, and that's why I could no longer be a Democrat. I can't point my finger at anything I want more of that they're giving us. Simple as that.
I mean,
but thank you for the time.
Thank you so much for the call. If one party had all of the answers to all of the problems, then anywhere that has one party rule would be a utopia. This would be true for the bluest of the blue cities. This would be true for the reddest of the red cities. And I got news for you. It's not true anywhere. California has had a supermajority of one party for many years now, and everything is not great. Everything's a mess. Let's go to Judy in West LA. Judy, hello.
Hi, how are you? I think that Karen Bass originally was very happy to be mayor, and she has a long-term vision vis-a-vis her position in the political world. She wants to do what Eric Garcetti did, which is no matter how tough it is here in L.A., she's just going to roll with the punches, be ineffectual, but hopefully she will get her name out and about so that ultimately she will potentially be invited or established as a decent and political enough person to be an ambassador to Ghana or to any of the African states that she's so in love with. What do you think?
Oh, that would be her dream job.
That's what I think. She's going to take the punches in the stomach and all the ugliness of L.A. Hopefully her end goal will be that somebody will admire her stick-to-itness, if nothing else, that maybe she'll be appointed an ambassador someplace. That's what I think she really has her eye on long range.
I think you might have a point there. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. I just thought of the funniest troll of all time. You know, and ambassadorships really don't matter, especially for most countries. It's you know, it's the gift that you give to donors and people that helped you get elected. That's why Garcetti got India, because he stood up for Joe Biden. I don't know if Trump has nominated an ambassador to Ghana. How funny would it be if he nominated Karen Bass? Since you liked it so much that you picked that over burning L.A., how would you like to go there full time? It'd be a win-win for everybody, and we can call it bipartisan. We'll all get along again. Let's go to George and Simi. George, hello.
Hi, Randy. Before I start, I would like to thank you for your leadership.
Oh, well, thank you for your leadership as well.
I think she regrets it because this was just a next step up. Like your last caller said that she was, trying to get ambassador. I think that as long as she was in Congress and Pelosi was running the Democrat side of Congress, the fact that she's from Southern California, not part of Pelosi's Northern California power base, she wasn't going anywhere. So she comes out here to be mayor, and hopefully she was, I think in her mind, maybe she's thinking she could bump that up to governor or something like that, or maybe next time Democrats get the presidency, she could get one of these cushy jobs, being a cabinet secretary that doesn't know anything like Becerra was, somebody like that. So the fact this hasn't worked out because she's incompetent, I'd say she regrets it because her next step up is looking a little dire now.
Yeah, it definitely is, because now she's got a track record, and I don't know if I could find anybody that with a straight face could say, yes, it's been great. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. You wonder if this goes all the way back to 2019, or I guess it would be 2020. You know, Karen Bass was relatively obscure. She was a member of Congress, but, you know, she got assigned to the committees to do the things that she wanted to do, and she got to do all the international delegations. She brags about it all the time. But then it leaked out that she got on the short list for vice president because Grampy Joe Biden, said he was going to nominate a black woman to be his VP. And on that short list was Karen Bass and Kamala Harris. And maybe just the thought of getting that high of an elevation where you're on everybody's thought, everyone's talking about you because you're the VP of the president that's definitely not going to make it 4 years. And when that didn't happen, she decided, I got to do something to get my name out there. Because I could be in much higher sights than this. I'm meant for more than this. She got a little taste of fame and decided to chase it in the worst possible job for it. Because very few people leave the mayor of Los Angeles job and move on to anything. Can you name one? It's not going to be Viragosa, I'll tell you that. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Do you think Karen Bass regrets becoming the mayor of Los Angeles?
No.
Or?
Well, absolutely.
800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd ever like to email this show, I try to read every email, respond to most of them. Email me, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. Susan writes in and says, Randy, that is a great idea about Trump naming Karen Bass as the ambassador to Ghana. In fact, I think we should write to him directly to suggest it. I'm not kidding. You know what? Any of you that have social media or whatever, just go put that out into the ether. I think we should all start a campaign because it's win-win. It's a job that does not matter. She'll be happier there. We can get somebody else in here, although the city council would appoint that person, but whatever. Let's go nuts. Let's send Karen Bass to Ghana. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd like to email us, you could do so at randykabc@gmail.com. Ed writes in at randykabc@gmail.com. Yes, Mayor Bass definitely regrets being mayor because when she was in Congress, no one who knew she was, no one cared about her failures, but now she's known nationwide and is the laughingstock of our state. She cannot hide her failures anymore. It is interesting, you know, of the major cities in California, San Francisco is starting to get on the right track. San Jose has a great mayor in Matt Mahan, and these are also Democrats. So it's not like, you know, there aren't some common sense people with the D next to their name. Oakland decided to go the LA route and vote a longtime member of Congress who has no experience in doing anything, and Barbara Lee speaks for me. But hopefully other cities will learn from the mistake of Karen Bass and don't elect a longtime member of Congress to anything. Ed continues on another subject. I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself with your wife and dogs in New Mexico. Oh, I am. I walked 10 miles yesterday, and I've walked 6.5 miles today, which seems like, you know, I haven't done enough. I do have a question related to when you have time. Could you share your recipe for smoked brisket, including the temperature you cook it at? The first one I smoked took me 24 hours and was 16 pounds. Enjoy the balance of the time you have left in New Mexico and have a safe trip back to the madness. Okay, there's nothing really special I do when I do a brisket. You got to trim it. You want to trim all the big pieces of fat. You want to get the decal out there, especially any of the hard pieces of fat. Or you can go to Wild Fork and they have an already trimmed brisket, and a lot of butchers will trim the brisket for you as well. You don't then have the tallow, fat that you can make into tallow, but it's super easy. Because at that point, you just salt and pepper everything. I do it Texas style. I'm sure there are fancier rubs, but I like it with just salt and pepper. And you throw it on a smoker at 225 for a very, very, very long time. Now, I've got a Traeger pellet smoker that makes it really easy because as long as there's pellets, it'll keep going and I don't have to manage the temperature. I have a thing called the meter. It is a smart thermometer, MEATER. So I put that thermometer in there and it connects with Bluetooth to my phone. And it just kind of gives me an alert whenever we're getting close to the desired temperature, which you want an internal temperature of about 203 to 205 degrees. The most important thing that people get impatient and you want to pull it off early, don't do that. Also, people get impatient and don't want to rest it. You got to rest it for a very long time. If that thing is smoking for 24 hours, you got to rest it for a minimum of 2, maybe 5 to 6 hours. Anyway, now I'm craving brisket. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.